Yeah, just really. I think I remember reading
Can everyone please be seated? Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the CEO of the Country Music Association, Sarah Traherne.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us for an exciting morning as we reveal the newest class to be inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. This year's inductees announcement feels particularly special as we stand together in this historic Hall of Fame for tender for the first time in 2 years. I'm thrilled to be back in this hallowed hall, surrounded by the plaques behind me, where the heart and history of country music is represented by those names and faces that adorn these walls. Today we honor 3 incredibly deserving individuals with the highest honor in country music. Inductees will be announced today in 3 categories: the non-performer rotating category, the modern era artist category, and the veterans era artist category. At CMA, we're fortunate to celebrate excellence within country music throughout the year, but this event is one of my personal favorites because of what it represents. All 3 of these individuals have left an indelible mark on our business, our genre, and our community, further proving how truly worthy they are of this honor. The inductees will join 146 other legends who we've welcomed into this unbroken circle that is the Country Music Hall of Fame. And certainly, while the circle remains unbroken, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge those we've lost this year: Ralph Emery, Argus Pig Robbins, and of course, Naomi Judd. I'm reminded by what Naomi wrote in her autobiography about her first visit to the Country Music Hall of Fame on Music Row. Quote, "It was as if we entered the pearly gates and were riding down the streets of gold," she wrote, as she compared the Hall of Fame to a cathedral filled with holy relics. All of those who've entered this hall have a permanent home in this magnificent cathedral. Please join me in a moment of silence to remember those we've lost this year. CMA created the Country Music Hall of Fame in 1961, and we take great pride in conducting the balloting and selection of the inductees. While we're still a bit scaled back from our normal attendance at today's event, our staff is honored to welcome those who are able to join us here in the Rotunda, and our country music community joining us via live stream to celebrate these remarkable individuals. I'd also like to thank Kyle Young and his entire museum staff for their continued efforts to preserve country music's storied history. We're forever grateful for your continued partnership. Kyle, would you like to come say a few remarks?
Thank you, Sarah. Well, welcome to the Hall of Fame Rotunda on this joyful and historic occasion. Our new inductees come from 3 very different places, but in October, they will be enshrined in the very same place. Their plaques will hang in this place permanently. With others who filled our world with music, with others who deserve respect and adulation that will endure through the ages. We at this museum do not elect members of the Hall of Fame, but we are caretakers of those members' stories. We inform people of those members' contributions. We guard their legacies. We don't take these duties lightly, but we do accept them happily. Thank you, Sarah, and I'll turn it back over to you to deliver some good news.
Thanks, Kyle. I'd like to take a moment to thank our CMA Board of Directors, whose commitment and dedication to our genre is what propels and empowers us to continue to push country music forward. I'd like to particularly recognize the officers of our board, Chairman Jim Beavers, President Charlie Morgan, and President-elect Virginia Bonetta, who also serves as chair of our Awards and Recognition Committee. As college chair, these individuals we announced today will be formally inducted during the annual medallion ceremony this fall in the CMA Theater. And now, to announce the 2022 class of the Country Music Hall of Fame, with 40 top 10 songs and more than 20 #1 hits stretching back to 1991. 2 Grammy Awards and dozens of CMA honors. They are the best-selling duo in country music history, not to mention Country Music Hall of Fame members. USA Today has praised the duo for their ability to musically swing from heartfelt and insightful to boot-stomping ushers of the party crowd. Please join me in welcoming Brooks and Dunn.
Well, thank you all for joining us today as we announce the names that will soon appear on these walls as the newest class to join the Country Music Hall of Fame. Now, this announcement is a highly anticipated cause for celebration, and we are honored, obviously, to share with you these newest inductees.
So today we have the distinct honor of celebrating 3 individuals who've reached the ultimate achievement in country music. Each has a unique impact that spans for decades. They've helped build the soundtrack of this genre for listeners all over the world, touching hearts and forging a path forward for future generations.
I know it's been, well, Ronnie and I pretty much lost for words. I remember when Sarah brought us the news that we were going into the Hall of Fame, you would have expected us to jump up and down and go crazy and everything. And like those times during our career when we got slapped in the face with something we felt like we weren't worthy of, we just kind of glanced over at each other, didn't say anything. It's an overwhelming honor. Anyway, we're going to begin with the non-performer category. Now, when RCA Records transferred this inductee from New York to its Nashville office in 1974, he never imagined he would still be in Music City 49 years later. Now, what he had initially envisioned as a 2-year assignment turned into a life's path for him. Nashville certainly had no clue how the 24-year-old New Yorker would transform the country music industry, becoming the longest tenured major label head in its history. In less than a decade, this inductee had succeeded Jerry Bradley as the head of RCA's Nashville office. Taking the helm at just 32, he is the youngest person to ever lead a major label's Nashville division. Under his leadership, this inductee touched the musical careers of 33 Country Music Hall of Fame members. He shepherded the multi-platinum ascendance of Alabama using a pop marketing model. And he signed a wide roster of talent, including Clint Black, Kenny Chesney, Sarah Evans, Vince Gill, the Judds, Martina McBride, Laurie Morgan, K.T. Oslin, Carrie Underwood, Keith Whitley, Chris Young, and quite a few others. In 1990, he married Fran Schwartz in Nashville before the couple returned to New York, where he was named the president of RCA, becoming the first Music Row label chief to run a major label's entire U.S. operation. His signings while there included the Dave Matthews Band, SWV, and Wu-Tang Clan. He returned to Nashville in 1994 as chairman of RCA, and through various mergers remained with the company until he exited Sony Music Nashville as chairman in 2010. While his record label prowess remains a highlight of his legacy, his dedication to mentoring younger generations of music professionals is perhaps one of his most admired and impactful contributions. Since leaving Sony Music Nashville, this inductee has served as a mentor in residence for Nashville's Entrepreneurs Center, where he founded Project Music. He is also a founding member of Leadership Music, now in its 33rd year. This inductee has been a member of the Country Music Association Board of Directors since 1978, the CMA Foundation Board of Directors since 2011, serving as chairman of both organizations. In 2021, CMA honored him with the J. William Denny Award to honor a lifetime of dedication, distinguished service, and meritorious contributions to the CMA Board of Directors.
That's that word right.
Thank you, Ronnie. That's a big word for you. philanthropist at heart, he established the Fran Delano Memorial Fund for lung cancer research at the Vanderbilt Ingram Cancer Center in the wake of Fran's passing in September of 2019. This inductee has raised the bar for executives in the country music industry, whether they were working for him, in concert with him, or competing against him. He becomes the third chief of Sony Music Nashville to join the Country Music Hall of Fame, following Chet Atkins and Jerry Bradley. Sarah Trahan says, Nashville would not be Nashville without Joe Galante. And I got to tell you, I think Ronnie would agree, probably in 2000, we had a pretty serious 10-year run that far exceeded any dream I think either one of us had as a duo, for dang sure. And we were kind of, I think, sort of at the end of the road, and thinking maybe it was time to go do some other things, sort of the same thought we had maybe 10 years later, but those 10 years never would have happened without Joe. That's when Joe came back to town, sat us down and said, guys, I just got back. I really believe in you. I don't think you're at the end of the road. Please just make one record for me. And that record had a song that he brought to us called Nothing About You that I think was 6 weeks at #1. We also wrote Only in America then. After that, we had Red Dirt Road and another 10 years that I think really kind of got us back together and making some music that really mattered to us. So we personally, I feel like, owe Joe a lot.
No, it's a good point. He started pitching us Wu-Tang Clan songs after that. That's why we quit. Anyway, Joe's become a good friend to us and our families, as he has to a lot of you all. And it's great to have this honor. You hear a lot of people say, well, it's about time. And I think it really is about time for Joe. So, here he is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating the non-performer inductee, Joe Galante.
Well, I really don't have anything to say now that Kix has gone through that intro. It's covered most of the points that I had, but I will say that I moved down here in '74. I had breakfast with Jerry Bradley down at the Hall of Fame, and I went back to New York, and I thought for sure I screwed up the interview. And I got a call when I came back. I was on a Friday. I came back to the office on Monday, and my boss said to me, "You're moving to Nashville. Jerry liked you." I went, "Oh, God. I can't believe this is happening." But I came down here with no background in country music, and I was blessed with a lot of people that helped me along the way, and they mentored me. They really showed me how to understand how the town worked and what country music was about. And those people were Francis Preston, Irving Waugh, Donna Hilley, and Joe Talbot, and many, many more. But they took the time to spend with a kid from Queens who really didn't know anything about the music business except get a record on the radio at that point, because that's what my job was. During the next few years that I was in Nashville, I was invited into the recording process. My first time was with Wham, and I went in there and sat on the couch at the Glazer Brothers studio. This guy walks by with a hat, and he looks at me and he goes, "Hey, Hoss, how you doing?" And that was my first introduction to Whalen. Sat there and listened to the music. The same happened with Millsap, Dolly, Eddie Arnold, Charlie Pride, and countless others. They allowed me to come in and learn how records were made and to learn to respect the creative process. And that became a central tenet for me, trying to understand how to serve the artist better on that side. In 1978, as Kix said, I joined the CMA board. And I have to tell you, that was a daunting experience for me, because the heads of the industry and heads of the record companies from New York and LA were on that board, and I was a kid. And I was still trying to find my way around. But in that room were the leaders of everybody from the radio chains, to music merchandisers, artist managers, publishers, songwriters. And it was a master's class. I got to be with some of the leaders of this town and the leaders pivotal moment for me joining that board. I'm still part of the board, as Kick said before. I really got an appreciation for the mission of CMA on expanding the boundaries and reach of country music, and I also got an appreciation for the Hall of Fame and its efforts to celebrate excellence in country music. The success I've had is also due to a lot of people along the way, artist managers, publishers, and the songwriters that I have been involved with, and they have been true partners to me, and in a lot of cases have become lifetime friends. I can also say the same thing about the label teams that I led. They were as passionate about the artists and the music as I was. Fortunately, almost all of them I'm still friends with, but they really drove my passion for what was going on and the excellence that we were able to achieve. Life would not be, God, I've been blessed to have so many people that are my family, and some of my family are here tonight, or today, and some of my family that are my country music family are here today. But my parents passed, and my wife passed several years ago, and while they're not here, I know that they are enjoying this moment, and they are smiling down, and I truly miss them. Becoming a Hall of Fame member, as Kick said before, I had the exact same reaction when Sarah told me. I just kind of fell to my knees, and I didn't know what to say, which was very unusual for me. But I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, and I am truly humbled and honored. This is an unmatched honor, and I think it's a tribute to all those people that helped me get here. Thank you very much.
Did you tell me one time, and this is like years ago, so you know, Brady, well, there is left of it, that you got your MBA, and because I was asking what brought you into business, you said you got your MBA and you had like a couple of choices right off the bat. One of them was like Oscar Mayer. Is that true? Oh, okay. All right.
Good story.
No, I swear to God. And I've gone through like for the last few years going, no, you said, no, I had a choice. Like I was going to go into business with an MBA and be successful like you have been. Or, I think an Oscar Mayer.
I think it was MCA. It was not Oscar Mayer.
I'm thinking joke is so meanish. Our country music. You know, let's make that choice. Whatever that other side is over there. Anyway. You know me. Text you later. Thank you, Joe. And now to our next category, the Modern Era Artist Inductee. Most country music Hall of Fame careers are marked by their longevity. It's not a requirement, though. 4 years, 7 months, and 10 days passed between this inductee's first appearance on the Billboard Country Singles Chart and his death on May 9th, 1989 at the age of 34. It's the briefest chart span of any Hall of Famer during their lifetime, nearly 6 months shorter than Hank Williams. He'd been coming to Nashville since his teens, having been told by Mac Wiseman that the real future was in country music. He met Lori Morgan in a studio at Acuff Road, where Lori worked as a receptionist, and he was cutting a demo of Does Fort Worth Ever Cross Your Mind, which had become a chart topper for George Strait, as we all know. This inductee married Lori in November of 1986. He found his artistic and commercial breakthrough with his next album, 1988's Don't Close Your Eyes. 3 tracks produced with Garth Fundis, including the title track, When You Say Nothing at All, and I'm No Stranger to the Rain. Found a perfect blending of bluegrass and honky-tonk traditions, brought him into contemporary country, giving him his first #1 hits. They still resonate more than 30 years later, a trio of singles with few parallels in terms of impact. 1 month later, I'm No Stranger to the Rain hit the top of the charts. He passed away at his home. Unlike so many of his fellow Country Music Hall of Fame members, this inductee never performed at the CMA Awards. He never became a member of the Grand Ole Opry, though unknown to him, his Opry invitation had been set for 3 weeks after his death. His first gold record certification for Don't Close Your Eyes came 2 months after his death and his Grammy Award nomination and CMA Awards came posthumously. A completed third album, I Wonder Do You Think of Me, came out in August of 1989 and added 2 more singles to the title track, and it ain't nothing to a streak of number ones. He's been gone now for almost as long as he lived, and his legacy is immeasurable, influencing subsequent generations of country singers and songwriters the way that icons like Lefty Frizzell and Hank Williams influenced him. So what country music would have looked like without his inductees, this music, especially the trio of game-changing singles, is unimaginable. Perhaps Garth, who specifically noted that this inductee deserved to be in the Hall of Fame during his own induction announcement in 2012, put it best recently, and I quote, Keith Whitley, he said, is the definition of country music. So please help me honor the newest inductee into the modern era artist category of the Country Music Hall of Fame, Keith Whitley. On behalf of his honor, you can stand right in front of it, sorry. I can't ad-lib. And to accept this honor on his behalf, I'd like to welcome Grand Ole Opry star, who was married to Keith Whitley until his untimely passing, Miss Lori Morgan.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh, what a dream come true. I heard Keith Whitley sing for the first time in 1982. I was on my way to the Grand Ole Opry, and this song came on the radio, and I pulled my car over. I was on my way to sing on the show, and I pulled my car over, and I fell in love with a voice that I never had seen before. And when I got to the Grand Ole Opry, he introduced himself to me, reintroduced himself to me, and from that day on, we were together minutely. We married and had 2 beautiful children. And Keith never knew how good he was. He never accepted that he could have a great record deal, or he could have as much as anybody else had in this industry. He would be absolutely blown away if he were here today. He would be saying that surely they got it wrong. That's how humble he was. And his children are here today, Morgan and Jesse, and Joe, because you and Tony Conway and people working really hard. Kyle, thank you so much, and CMA, for remembering Keith and loving Keith and his zest for music and life. He has 4 beautiful grandchildren and 1 on the way. And because people believe in him and believe in his music, it still lives on. All of his fans that go to his cemetery and they sing to him all the time out at his plot, and they leave him gifts and they leave him letters and, believe it or not, hotel keys. A little strange, but that's okay. But they leave him all kinds of treasures that they have. And he is forever in their minds and in their hearts. He deserves to be here. He's deserved to be here for quite some time. We're just happy that he's here. And on behalf of myself and his children and all of Keith Whitley's fans and Dwight Whitley and Flo Whitley and all of the Whitleys in Sandy Hook, Kentucky, we certainly appreciate you inducting Keith into the Country Music Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Lori. Man, I was blessed with the friendship with Keith. What a What a great guy he was. Don Gant, my first publisher, cut some sides on Keith. I know he was a fan of Lefty in a big way, and they got hooked up and got to write some songs. He cut some stuff with Keith, but he was just a prince of a guy. He really was. We lost him way too soon. Anyway, thanks so much, Laurie. Appreciate you being here and sharing. Well, we continue with our final inductee here in the Veterans Era category. At 21 years old, when our final inductee arrived in Memphis, Tennessee, Sun Records, he was introduced to owner Sam Phillips as a man who could play the piano the way Chet Atkins played guitar. Now, that description might have piqued Phillips' curiosity, but truth was, this inductee didn't sound a thing like Atkins, and he played the piano like nothing anybody had ever heard before. His ferocious key-pounding style derived from a combustible mix of cultural sources. The Assembly of God Holiness Church of Faraday, Louisiana, not far from where I come from, and Haney's Big House at Chitlin Circuit nightclub on the other side of town, where he witnessed a young B.B. King and all manner of other blues and R&B acts. The Jimmy Rogers records embedded deep within his formative memories. Al Jolson's 78s played before Gene Autry matinees at the local movie house. And Hank Williams' mournful wail carried across the air via the Louisiana hayride. Now those things all came together in this inductee and came out through his fingers with the speed of lightning and the force of thunder. He's, as music historian Colin Escott has noted, a rock and roller who could never quite get the country out of his soul, and a country singer who could never forget rock and roll. In all, he placed 28 top 10 Billboard country singles across 4 decades, a greater number of hits over a longer period of time than would have appeared on the pop charts, where only a half dozen sides made it to the top 40. He's continued to record. His acolytes take him into the studio as subsequent generations discover his music, even recording a 2011 live album at Jack White's Third Man Records. His name has appeared in country hits by George Jones, George Michael, Montgomery, Tim McGraw, the Statler Brothers, though of course nobody drops his name more in their songs than he does. A whole lot of shaking going on, now part of the National Recording Registry. That and Great Balls of Fire are in the Grammy Hall of Fame. While those 2 records are by far his most famous, those who know his catalog more deeply understand he has a full mastery of centuries worth of popular music. This inductee joined Sun Records compatriots Johnny Cash, Cowboy Jack Clement, Sam Phillips, and Elvis Presley in the Country Music Hall of Fame. He also is the 4th member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's founding 1986 class of inductees to also gain membership in the Country Music Hall of Fame, along with Elvis Presley, the Everly Brothers, and Ray Charles. While he now joins a select group, he also remains uniquely individual in that company. "My style of country music is just me," he told the Associated Press in 2017. "I wouldn't know how to do anyone else's." Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating the Veterans Era Artist Inductee, long overdue in my opinion, Jerry Lee Lewis.
Thank you very much. I'd like to say it's a great honor and a great pleasure to be here in the Country Music Hall of Fame. And my name is Jerry Lee Lewis. I love everybody, and I think some of the bodies love me a little bit. And I'm just overwhelmed that they asked me to be here today to honor myself to the Country Music Hall of Fame. And it's great. great to be recognized and put forth the effort to show yourself in the right way and be a good person and treat your people right, treat your fans right. And there's been such great talent up here so far. It's very hard for me to try to find something to say. But I'm here. I love you. I couldn't have done it without you. And I'm just looking forward to the fall of the year when we get down to the business. Okay?
Congratulations. Well deserved. I say on behalf of CMA and everybody, congratulations to Joe, Jerry, Keith, ta-da.